Bucks can't lose to the Pacers 3 in a row early on in this season, can they, Drew?
No, hell no.
What are we doing next?
We're breaking down Bucks.
Yes, sir, and the place to be. We're breaking down Bucks at home versus the Pacers tonight. Drew, what did you see early on in the game? What were you expecting?
I was expecting really tough defensive effort. They've been out-physicaled, out-hustled the last two times they played Indiana, and I expected a veteran-led group of guys to come out and play hard and play physical.
Yeah, that's what I was expecting as well. And what did you see early on, first quarter?
Not that.
Right. Yeah, I thought they got off to a little bit of a slow start early in the first. What do you think of this Dame experiment to play every single second of every first quarter?
I like it. I think it's fine. It hasn't gone the way that I think everybody's hoped that it was going to go so far. But if that's what he feels like he needs to do in the first quarter of the season, then I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I'm fine with it as well, although I don't think he's been great early on in games in the first quarter. It seems like he really defers early, gets his teammates involved, which I'm fine with, and then really gets his offense going late in the second and seems to catch a rhythm then.
Yeah, that's definitely been his pattern so far this year, and that's fine. You want to get your teammates involved, but those guys got to hit shots then, and he's got to be able to hit shots when he's open.
Yeah, and I thought early on in the first quarter we were giving up some offensive rebounds to the Pacers.
Yeah, Pacers they play hard, and they're a good rebounding team. And if we're not ready to match their energy, it doesn't matter if we've got Giannis and Brook out there. They're just going to beat us to the ball.
Yeah, and I think we kind of countered and put in Marjan and Ajax at the same time, gave us a boost.
And, you know, that probably ended up being the difference in the game because those guys really swung momentum, and then the starters and the veterans were able to kind of get back in there and just kind of maintain. But they definitely provided, those two guys specifically provided a different type of energy, especially on the defensive end and going after loose balls, and it changed the trajectory of the game.
Yeah, not much rhythm to the game early on in the first quarter. A lot of stoppages of play. There was 2 reviews and 2 timeouts, and the first quarter took like 50 minutes.
Not a pretty product, not necessarily what the NBA wants, not what the fans want, and definitely not what the players want.
And then also my takeaway from the first quarter, it looked like there was an emphasis on physical play.
Absolutely, yeah. And coach needed them to be physical. I don't know that they were necessarily as physical as they wanted to be in the first 5 to 8 minutes of the game, but the rest of the first half, they definitely picked that up, and they were not going to let Indiana come into their house and play harder than them for the 3rd straight game.
Right. And then the Bucks were able to close out the first quarter and actually won the first quarter. They led 36-33 after 1. And then Halliburton started to break loose there early on in the second quarter. Looked like Ajax was picking up full court, was effective at times, but a couple other times Halliburton got past him and put a couple on his head.
Yeah, caught him twice, I believe. Halliburton's a good player. Jackson's a really good up-and-coming defender, and when he starts figuring out that it's more important to stop guys from getting to the basket than it is from letting them pull up and shoot, especially a guy like Halliburton. You know, got to know the scouting report. You can't let that happen. But I don't fault him for the aggressiveness on defense because it bothered them, and that's exactly what the Bucks needed.
Yeah, that's what he's in there to do too, right?
Right.
And then Halliburton was doing a lot of barking out there.
Yeah, I think he had a lot of people there in the crowd tonight. I think I saw somewhere he had like 2,000 people there or something like that. So he was definitely trying to put on a show. And played in the Bucks' favor because he turned it over a couple times, and we haven't seen him do that in a while.
Yeah, and then Dame got it going there late in the second, like he normally does. The last 4 minutes, seems like his shots got going.
Yeah, he was able to hit some shots. He wasn't particularly effective from three tonight, and it just feels like he hasn't really been that effective from three all year, and might be just still a little bit of gelling, a little bit of understanding what the expectation is of him on the defensive end, playing with a guy like Giannis, and I mean, playing with guys like he's never played before, but and maybe our expectation was a little too high, but I think he's fifth all time in 3-pointers made, and he's making a lot of money, and that was a big trade, and he's there to hit shots and specifically 3-pointers, and just fingers crossed that starts happening sooner than later.
You know, maybe that he's spending more energy on defense now, and I definitely don't think he's used to being number two. I think at this point you can say that Giannis is the guy that you need to play through for the majority of the game.
Yeah, I mean, that should have been clear and obvious before the season even started, though. I mean, I understand Giannis being a humble guy and saying, look, this can be Dame's team and I'll play second to him, but how many MVPs does Damian Lillard have?
Good point.
How many chips does he have?
Good point.
Yeah, that's Giannis's team. It has to be, and it should have been from game one.
Right, and Dame's our closer. I think we've got that figured out at this point.
Yeah. Giannis hit his free throws tonight, though.
Right.
He can hit free throws like that.
He has his nights where he hits his free throws. And those nights, the points start racking up.
Definitely good to see.
And then I thought Chris was a little loose with the ball in the second quarter. What did you see from him?
It's first quarter of the season, Chris Middleton. It's going to happen.
I think it was emphasized by the very last play of the second half. He tried to get a shot off before the end of the half, got it taken from him, and we gave up a three as a result. It's kind of become the new Lucy, if you will, a kind of a throwback to Thon Maker's nickname that kind of you, me, and CJ gave him, Lucy. Chris Middleton might be the new Lucy.
Yeah. For those watching, that's Lucy is in loose with the basketball, careless with the basketball. Not trying to take a shot like that, but dude, that play specifically was, I think, a little bit more just a freak happenstance. Like, he just happened to get the ball knocked away from him, and there just happened to be another defender there that happened to pick the ball up and chuck it up right before the clock went off. I mean, that happens 1 in 100.
It feels to me a lot like when I was playing at McGovern and the whole crowd was yelling, "He's scared! He's scared!" when Chris has the ball, because he is being attacked.
Yeah, he's being attacked because he's first quarter of the season. Chris, he's not playing at full speed right now, and other teams, especially teams like Indiana, that have guys that are playing for contracts that are trying to get after it as much as they can, are going to try to attack him. Yeah, of course they're going to do that. And it's going to work sometimes, but I'm not concerned about Chris doing that in the playoffs.
And the Bucks finished off the quarter fairly strong. They led 63-70 at half. Moving into the third quarter, the Pacers got off to a good start, Drew.
We've seen it a lot, unfortunately, too many times. Bucks just kind of seemed a little bit unprepared coming out of the third quarter, a little bit lethargical. I don't know what they're necessarily doing at half, but I don't mean to keep harping on it. Maybe it's the crowd too. Like, right. Guys, get back in your seats, please. Pre-order. You can pre-order at the Fiserv from your phone. Then you can just go have it ready and picked up right at the kiosk. You can do that. Get back to your seats.
And if you got nice enough seats, you can get it delivered. That doesn't help you go to the bathroom though. But
it's not a 5.5 hour game.
Although it felt like it tonight. It felt like a baseball game. I thought the Bucks did a better job of matching up on transition defense this game.
Clearly, yeah. And they need to going forward. And I think that's really just an effort thing for the most part. And when it's good to see that when they decide that they want to do it, that they can do it. And it'd be concerning if they were trying to and couldn't at all. that would be a real red flag.
I think it's probably about 85% effort and 15% communication. Yeah, the Pacers got it down to as close as 1, and then the Bucks kind of regained control of the game there in the third.
Yeah, and the veterans did a good job of kind of increasing the lead. They didn't really need to go back to the bench to try to get a spark. So that was really nice to see, is that they were able to kind of self-motivate themselves and realize what they needed to do and got it going.
Didn't really like the minutes I saw from Cam Payne tonight.
I didn't love them. I didn't hate them. I thought Beasley gave solid minutes, and so his stuff was sporadic. And I think Marjan looked really good tonight, and Jackson, I thought, looked pretty good tonight. I think he would have probably got more minutes had he not gotten in foul trouble, but that's got to be a weird kind of feeling for Cam, kind of double-edged sword. I mean, I'm sure he's happy for those guys to see them playing well, but he's got to be thinking in his head that, man, Connaughton's going to come back and Jay's going to come back and Marjan's playing better and Jackson's playing better and Beasley's looking a little bit better. And so now I'm getting pushed further and further and further down the depth chart. And, it might get to a point where they don't really need him. And I don't know how that's sitting with him right now.
It's competition. It's good for the Bucks, right? Because he's really going to be putting in extra effort to earn those minutes. I think they all
Absolutely. Yeah. I think sometimes injuries kind of force teams to have to play players, and that doesn't always necessarily work out well. So it's good to see guys competing, and we'll be even more excited to see when everybody gets back and healthy, how they compete and how those minutes end up going.
Then Bucks finished the third quarter up 101-94, and then got off to a quick start in the fourth. Giannis was fouled pretty hard there, and it looked like tensions were rising. We saw Bobby Portis go to his crazy eyes killer mode.
Yeah, Bobby was ready to fight. There's no doubt about it. And, you need guys like that if you're going to win. And so it's really good to see Bobby getting back. I thought Bobby was good tonight. I thought his energy and his attitude was exactly what the Bucks need right now. And they can't always be turning to the young guys for the energy to kind of turn it on. And Bobby's definitely that dude. And he was ready to go. Did you see Thanasis ready to go?
Right. When Giannis was thrown to the guard, it looked like they took $3 to keep him back.
Yeah, Jay caught him, and Thanasis was – it really – it looked bad because the kid who was guarding Giannis just plays him so hard. But, I mean, he was immediately trying to help him up. It wasn't a, fight type situation, but Bobby saw that opportunity to do what he did, and
right.
God bless him for it.
Right. It fired up the Bucks, fired up the crowd. Yeah, like you said, he was looking for an excuse. He wished a motherfucker would.
Right.
You know what I mean?
He fired up 34, and 34
right.
ended up going for 64.
Right. Absolutely. And then I thought Bobby was really great on those strong hedges. Did you notice that at all?
Yeah. I mean, the effort, it wasn't always effective every single time he did it, but he did it hard, and he was putting effort into it. And even when it wasn't working, guys were feeding off of it, and
right.
how defense was a little bit faster. People were walling off a little bit stronger, and it's a contagious thing. And he's a contagious type of dude. And when he gets rolling like that, that's what we get.
Yeah, it's a good thing. I thought that it was contagious as far as the extra hard hedges. I saw other guys doing it as well, so it was great to see. And then, like you said, Giannis just got on one there in the fourth quarter and just really carried us to the finish line. They actually took him out of the game, though, and had to bring him back because the bench let the Pacers get it back down to 10.
Yeah, they're not going to go away. Their bench guys play very, very hard. We've seen it, 3 times already this year, so we're very familiar with it. But if our bench guys go out there and they're not ready to go, was that Robin Lopez's first minutes of the year?
Not the first minutes of the year, but yeah, pretty close to it. He's definitely not played any meaningful minutes.
He didn't look like he had played any meaningful minutes so far this year. So and it's the NBA, man. Like, even backup players can put up a lot of points really fast if you're not careful. So good learning moment, though. Good teaching moment for those guys, and going to be a good coaching moment for Griff, too.
Yeah, I don't think the Pacers really like that really late dunk that Giannis had, if I'm reading in between the lines. Bucks end up winning 140-126. After the game, though, there's some fireworks because it looked like the Pacers snuck away with the game ball, and Giannis wanted to keep it because he had a career high and a franchise high 64 points.
Yeah, I mean, I understand it. And tensions were running high. Clearly, the Bucks really, really wanted to win that game tonight. It showed with how 34 played, with the effort that the guys put forward. So emotions were definitely high, but I mean, you're two-time MVP or NBA Finals MVP, you're a champ. Like, just walk it off and make somebody else go get that basketball for you, dude. You're bigger than that.
Right. I was afraid that it was going to spill over, but it didn't look like it did. So that was good to see. Yeah. So our third matchup with the Pacers, Drew, I really like that the Pacers ball club and the talent they put together. I like Carlisle as a coach. If we happen to play these guys in the playoffs, that would make an interesting series.
Sure, it would. They're going to have to get better play from a guard not named Tyrese Halliburton, though. Bucks, at least right now at this point in the season, look like their biggest vulnerability is the ability to guard guards or guard on the perimeter. Buddy Hield, even in their 2 wins, he didn't really look that good. He wasn't very good tonight, and they didn't get a whole lot from that smattering of McConnell and Neesmith or whoever else they're throwing out there. So
they can't really stop anybody either. I think that's their
biggest. Yeah, I'm not sure that they're going to be it'll be interesting just from how hard they played tonight, but I don't know that from a matchup standpoint in a 7-game series, it's going to be a very tough matchup for the Bucks if they. But the rosters might look completely different by the time. Never know, trades, injuries.
Right. Again, Giannis, franchise record, 64 points. Chris added 14, 9 and 7. Very solid night from Chris. Dame added 21. Bobby added 19. With that being said, let's move into overtime. First thing I wanted to touch on, Drew, is I was watching the Bill Simmons podcast, and he attended that Indiana in-season tournament game and had noticed that Giannis was sitting the majority of the timeouts by himself on the scores table. Do you have an issue with that?
I do not. But if you notice, when he originally got subbed out at the end of the game tonight too, he was kind of sitting by himself at the end of the bench as well. Maybe it's just something that he's doing this year, or maybe we're witnessing the beginning of the Giannis villain arc.
Quite possibly. Or maybe he's 7 foot tall and just wants some space for a minute to cool down. But yeah, I don't have a problem with it either. Bill Simmons, quit talking about our team, man. Trying to stir up drama. I wanted to do a little this or that, Drew. Throwing it back. Who's a better Bucks center, Brook Lopez or Andrew Bogut?
Brook Lopez.
Okay. And do the
Bucks
Bucks
by quite a mile? And I love Andrew Bogut.
Okay.
Love Bogut. He was very skilled. Didn't have a whole lot of help around him. Unfortunate injuries, but Brook, What can you say about the guy? I mean, is he a Hall of Famer at this point?
Right. I mean, he's got the chip with us. He had a whole multiple all-star run with the Nets early on in his career that people forget about, where he was a low post player. And
he's the leading scorer in Nets franchise history today.
He might be a Hall of Famer. Probably is a Hall of Famer. Do the Bucks still win the championship if you put a prime Andrew Bogut and replace Lopez?
No, because Bogut couldn't shoot it.
That's funny about Bogut because he came to Alabama when I was going to school there with Utah and was dropping threes on it and could really stroke it. And then he got to us, couldn't really shoot it. Then he broke his arm and couldn't shoot it at all and was mostly a left-handed player by the end of his career with us.
And still pretty darn good, man.
Right?
He was a very good defender. He moved his feet very well. It's funny. They're almost like the opposites of each other, right? Like Brook had to evolve his game to become a 3-point shooter, where Bogut had to kind of evolve his game to be strictly in like 4 feet of the basket.
Little left-hand baby hooks all day.
All day.
And then I also wanted to touch on the news about Bobby's criticism or passion after the loss to Indiana in the in-season tournament game. You got a problem with this, Drew?
Problem with it? No. I want this. This has to happen. Griff is not a soft dude. He is not sitting in the locker room butthurt because veteran players that have won championships before are passionate about the basketball team that he coaches. Like, no. Win all day. Win.
Yeah, I agree. And then speaking of Bobby, going to our subscriber comment, Brian Brody had a little back and forth with me about the best six man in Bucks history, and he says it's Junior Bridgman, hands down. And he says, look at the stats. So I looked at the stats, Brian Brody. This is what I found, sir. First of all, Junior Bridgman, hell of a ball player. Might be a better businessman, though. One of the richest men in America, second richest man in the NBA, behind Michael Jordan, and owns a bunch of Wendy's franchises, if you guys didn't know. So go get yourself
spicy chicken nuggets. They still do those spicy chicken nuggets?
Get yourself a spicy chicken nugget or a Frosty.
Yeah.
I believe they give away free Frosties after Bucks wins. At least they used to. Might be a discount.
They used to give away chili.
Okay. But Junior Bridgman's stats, very solid player. Played a lot of years for the Bucks. Went to the Clippers for 2 years and then came back to the Bucks for a swan song. But 14, 15 points a game, got up to 17 points a game in 79-80. Very, very solid player with us. Usually shot around high 40s, 47, 48%. So very good six-man for us. But I cannot say he's the best six-man in Bucks history because this man here, Ricky Pierce, is the only Buck to win six-man of the year back in 1990. And his numbers are clearly better than Junior Bridgman. Averaged in the low 20s per game, could really shoot it, and again had the sixth man of the award back in 1990. You remember him at all, Drew?
Yeah, absolutely. And he could defend. Ricky could defend.
Wore 22. Yeah, very solid player.
So Brian Brody's going Junior Bridgman.
Correct.
Rusty's going Ricky Pierce.
Correct. And what is Drew going?
I'm going to go Bobby Portis because what Bobby Portis brings, you're not going to pull up on a stat sheet. Bobby brings toughness, and that
Crazy
toughness, and that toughness helped get us a chip.
Right. And we want a chip in the role of him as six man. So that's the trump card.
You guys left me, Bobby. I'll take it.
Well, that's all I got, guys. I appreciate everybody joining us tonight. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We'd like to get more questions from everybody in comments that we can go over during the pod. But other than that, that's all I have, unless you got something for me, Drew.
No, sir. We'll see you next time.
All right. I appreciate y'all. Deuces.